All right, all right. I am so excited today. I hope you guys can hear me. And if you can't, oh my gosh. And Jason, I'm hoping you're able to hear me as we get this thing going. It is more than exciting because this is our first fireside chat inside of the new, what am I calling it? The new Becoming the Person universe that we have put together. And so when I think about, all the different things that we're able to do and, just being able to help people become the person that they've always wanted to be, and that they're able to, um, think about, different ways in which their lives can get a lot better. And so I created this whole universe around personal development, this whole universe around helping people understand not only where they're at now in life, but being able to connect with others that might be able to help them get to where they want to be. And so today I have my first fireside chat with Naron Tillman, and we've done a podcast together, but we haven't had the opportunity at this point to kind of chop it up on some of the things that he's doing and what he's excited about and how he's excited about it. And the difference with this format is after we kind of talk a little bit, I'm going to bring some people up that would love to ask us questions or to be part of the show. And so I'm hoping they're hearing it, and you can watch this on we're live now on YouTube, we're live now on Facebook, we're live now on Instagram, and we'll see what else we can get going for people to be able to check in, be part of it. I have so many guests lined up for the next few weeks as we end out this year in 2025. I don't know when you're watching this. We'll put these on recording back onto YouTube and in our community, and we're just going to have some fun. So Naron, thank you for being on today. Thank you for being the very first guest on this platform. And maybe you just spend a few minutes introducing yourself, the things that you're doing now, and then we'll just kind of talk about it. This is so funny because he was saying, it's cold where he's at. Because I just said, well, if we're going to do a fireside chat, right, I should be out by the fire. Then I brought some of my equipment outside, and I was going to put the fire on and that kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, I'm going to burn up some cords and burn up a whole bunch of stuff. And so we're in Denver, so it is still light outside. Next week I'll actually be camping, so we'll see we'll see what that looks like. See if I got enough internet to be able to work, but in a place that I'll have connection. And then I have some plans for being in different locations in different places. Hopefully at some point I'll be able to even have some people that are right next to me that we'll be able to just talk while we're in studio together. And so I'm excited about this format. I'm excited. I'm still going to do my podcast. The Journey to Freedom is still going to be alive. Living Boldly with Purpose is still going to be alive. But this is going to be something special because I just want to dive deep into, the podcasts have been, who are you? So if you want to go back and watch Naron and myself on who he is and, how he grew up and all that kind of stuff, that's a beautiful podcast for that. But today is going to be this is some things that we do, and how we're able to help people in the different ways that we're able to make it happen. And so thank you for being on today. Thank you for being part of it. I'm going to go ahead and let you kind of introduce yourself. And thank you. Like I said, this is the first one, so we'll see how it all I feel like I'm back in my radio days where you didn't know what was going to happen and what we're going to talk about. So, Naron, thanks for being on today. I can't wait to not flies flying in front of me, right? To being out here on this first fireside chat today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And I'm elated at the fact that you chose me to kick this thing off. Because of all the one, my name is Naron. I'm from Queens, New York. I live a little bit up the way in New York now. And I'm doing a whole lot of exciting things. We have our production company where we help podcasters find their voice in podcasting. And I'm announcing I have a book that's coming out in a few weeks, Awakening I Am, where we look at the AI agents and how they are similar to the subconscious mind. I teach yoga, mindful past. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're kind of breaking up a little bit, but I can hear you. We're in and out a little bit. I don't know how well you're able to hear me. Are
Yeah,
you
I can
able
hear
to
you
hear me?
now
Okay.
again.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so I can hear you. At first, you were breaking up just
But
a little bit.
I don't know. So, like, this is the first one, so we should expect. Okay, I can try to change my Wi-Fi.
Okay.
I don't know. It says my Wi-Fi is strong. But doctor, what do you have for me? What do you want me to? What do you want us to talk about tonight?
You know, one of the things that I really want to talk about your book. Let's start off there, and why you wrote it, and what you think it's going to help people be able to do. So if we kind of walk through that a
That's
little
a
bit,
great
maybe we can
question.
really come to, yeah.
Oh man, I don't know if it's my end or your end, but
Okay.
my book name is Awakening I Am. That and I am is pointing to the real I am itself, the person that's within us. And I wrote it because I was learning AI. I was one of the first reluctant users of AI. And I remember talking to a friend, and I didn't understand ChatGPT. Like, I didn't understand prompting. And one of my young minister friends was like, "Oh, all you have to do is do this." Like, I'm 50 years old now. And
Yes.
as I started learning it, because I do teach mindfulness in yoga, and I was in my meditation, and I started to think about the way that we talk to ourselves, our true I am selves. When I took my certification through the Chopra Foundation, one of the things that struck me was the lesson of the I am itself. We did this whole meditation centered around I am, and we would just sit and just say, I am, I am, I am, without saying I am a father, I am a husband, I'm a wife, just I am. And I am mirrors amen. And in the Bible, if for those of you Bible scholars, I am a biblical standpoint for someone else, but I never looked at I am for me. And when I was going through that meditation practice, it really woke something up in me. Now, when I was going through this AI innovation, and I was like learning about prompting and all this other stuff, and I said, you know what? There's a striking similarity the way that we prompt AI and the way that we prompt our own subconscious minds.
Mm-hmm.
The subconscious mind is 90% of what we do throughout the day. The subconscious mind operates from a fear, fight, or flight mindset. So if we have bad habits, if we do things that we don't like to do sometimes, it's only because the subconscious mind is giving us what it believes that we need. It doesn't know how to distinguish between good, evil, lies, and truths. It just gives us what we've been programmed to do. And where does the program come from? Prompting. Your mom called you ugly. You're beautiful, but you don't believe that you're beautiful. Your dad wasn't around to be able to parallel the synergy between what I'm seeing in AI and what happens with our subconscious mind.
Gotcha. So when maybe kind of talk a little bit about the Chopa Foundation and what that is all about, because you said you were certified through them. And so what is the I guess what is it that they do, and why would you want to be certified?
Deepak Chopra is one of the leading scientists, I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
I run an organization called Urban Yogis. So I started out as a yoga instructor. He started a program with a lady named Erica Ford. I was pastoring in Brooklyn. I came in as a mentor, not thinking to do yoga. They was teaching urban yogis. They was teaching yoga in the urban areas. And what evolved, they hired me to mentor the first cohorts of urban yogis. Then I was brought in by the Sanima Foundation to connect us to schools in the urban areas. Well, what happens is a lot of the guys wasn't showing up to some of the schools at one point. And my yoga teacher, Eddie Stern, said, why don't you, because I was practicing all the time. He said, you know enough. You have your certification. I went through the whole process with the guys because I think it was important for me to be there with them throughout the whole process. And he said, why don't you go teach? I'm like, me teach yoga? So eventually I reluctantly went and I started to do it. And we had an opportunity through Deepak Chopra's foundation to learn meditation. Now, I grew up Pentecostal. So I embraced yoga, but I never really embraced meditation. And when we got the opportunity to take this class, they gave it to us because of the program. They gave us this opportunity for free. And I was going through some personal issues at the time. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to jump onto this meditation program, because what can it hurt? And through Deepak Chopra and the Chopra Foundation, I was able to learn how to teach meditation, because meditation is so vast. Like it seems like where you have different styles of meditation, and that's where we are today.
Gotcha. So I'm trying to really I want to dig deep in here. And you talked about being Pentecostal as you were growing up, but you didn't embrace meditation.
No.
What about meditation was a reason? Like, what goes on in meditation that somebody who's Pentecostal would think, well, I don't want any part of this? Or, is it just the belief of what it is? Or is it, is it taking away from the spirituality of, connecting with God? What is it that people would think that
they said meditation and yoga was the devil? They taught us that meditation and yoga was the devil. So you just believe what the pastor said.
Gotcha.
Everything was the devil when I was coming up. The TV, we couldn't go to the movies. Like everything was the devil.
Yeah, no, believe me, I remember, because I remember my mom. We were watching Star Trek, and yeah, we watched Star.
A little delayed.
Go ahead. Oh yeah, a little bit delayed. So I was just saying we watched Star Trek, and then they were beaming up and down, and my mom was like, "Well, you can't beam up and down. You can't disappear. You're not allowed to watch Star Trek." So I can remember, like, whenever they went into that little platform where they were beaming down, I would turn the TV off, wait like 3 seconds, turn it back on, so I didn't watch them beaming down.
But
because that was like you said, part of the devil, or part from the devil, or something like that. And so, oh my gosh, I get it, because you think about like organized religion just coming up with things, because obviously the Bible can't interpret, of some of the stuff that we do today because it was written 2,000 years ago, right? However, I believe there probably was some type of meditation back then, or why
Yeah,
can't you be meditating
definitely.
on the things of God? So what did you find out as a result of doing, meditation work
Oh,
and,
oh,
realizing, wait a minute, this isn't from the devil.
oh, what I found out was um, I was angry. I was we so choppy. I hope this comes out great because somebody needs to hear this. Um, as I said, people, especially in our community, we have what we call a monkey mind. I grew up in the projects, so
Okay.
we tell kids to pay attention, but we don't give them the currency to pay. Meditation showed me the currency. Growing up Pentecostal, we cry out to God and we pray and we have all these cliches in church. And, I participated in it. I was a praise and worship leader for years. And we say, lift your hands up and wait for the blessings to come down. No, the blessings and everything is within us. Meditation helps the mind to become creative. Meditation helps the mind to settle. Like, we have so many people that are walking around anxious, and I think that was a huge part of the book too, because what we did was, I'm not saying we, I always talk in teams, right? But what we did was we blended meditation,
Mhm.
prayer practice, all of my personal experiences, and AI, neuroscience, flexibility with yoga, and I came up with this memoir, and I'm sharing it with the world because the more flexible you are in your body, the more flexible you are in your mind. The more flexible you become in your mind, the more flexible you become in your creative experience, and the more creative you become, you're thinking of something that's fireside chat. How can I better the world? And that's what meditation allowed me to tap into.
So when we think about your faith and the faith
Mm-hmm.
that you grew up with, and you now are a praise and worship leader, you are preaching, you're a pastor,
Mm-hmm.
and now you find something else that can connect you. Maybe talk a little bit about how your faith has moved forward, or how your faith has changed, or how you practice your faith with God. I mean, I don't,
It didn't
because I don't want
change.
people to think that all of a sudden that you don't like God, you don't love God anymore. God doesn't love you because you went change religions or something. I don't, what is, kind of just walk us through that transformation.
It didn't change. I started preaching when I was 24, 23, 24 years old. I made all of my mistakes from the pulpit, all of my adult learning lessons from the pulpit. I went from, I started preaching, I was Kojic. I'm ordained Baptist. My grandmother told me I was a sinner because I went from the Kojic I never heard of before. Grew that church into a large, what would be considered a large ministry. And as I began to do all of these things, I lost myself. When I took the meditation course, I started doing yoga and I started to find myself, right? Because our body stores a message. in those lessons, you don't know when they're going to show up.
Mm-hmm.
So I lost my family. I write about this in the book. I was a part of a nasty church split. And I had all of these lived experiences, but I gave up. I didn't, man. There was a part of, there was a few years that if you watched me, you wouldn't even knew I was the same person. When I took the meditation course, it all made sense. I don't know, like it was like those things had to happen in order for me to be able to be where I am right now. And that's why when the podcast is named Walking Victory, because somebody right now may be listening to us and they're walking thinking that they're defeated. They're thinking that they are the worst person in the world. You know, we say, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. But when you're going through the valley, he wrote that on the other side of the valley. When you're going through the valley, you don't know how you're going to respond. But there's something inside of all of us, and that's why Awakening I Am. I found my true I Amic self, not because of the songs that I sang, not because of the people I helped, not because of any of those other things that I've done, accomplished in life. And I'm my family. I'm making moves. I wrote a book. I didn't. So it's and 3 years ago I wouldn't have never even talked about none of this stuff because we're so brushed up. Mm-hmm. We're trained to be polished. And sometimes we just got to say we hurt.
Yeah. And so, and as I think of it, that's exactly why we have Becoming the Person Universe, because we want to be able to talk about relationship. Yeah. Go ahead.
What did you say?
I was just saying that's why we have Becoming the Person Universe, is because so many people are in the situation you were, where I don't know how to act beyond what I've been told I'm supposed to be, or been told what I'm supposed to do, or been told this is how you show up, at wherever it is, in society, wherever you're at. And then this whole thing gets even more, I guess, twisted with online and the internet, because we see people's best lives and somehow we believe that compare ourselves to what we're seeing there, right?
You know what's funny? When I took that course, because it was a whole separate portion, the I Am. The meditation is you say your first and last name. Mm-hmm. I added on to it, like if I'm Naron Tillman. So it's like, I am Pastor Naron Tillman. I am Pastor Naron Tillman, a dad. Mm-hmm. I'm Pastor Naron Tillman, a husband. I'm Pastor Naron Tillman. So we get all of these labels. What we would do during the meditation, we would take each label off, each label off, each label off, until all you're left, Naron Tillman. Naron, I am Pastor Naron. Then you take off Naron. Mm-hmm. I am Pastor. I am Pastor. You take off Pastor. The only thing that was left is I am. You know how humbling that is? Because once you start pulling back your surname, like you got Dr. B, right? So if you say, I am Dr. B, I am Dr. B, then you say, I am Doctor. Does that sound right?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Yeah, not at all. Not at all.
But so we get in these arguments, we're like, who are you talking to? I'm a pastor. I'm the doctor. But that's not who we are. That's what we accomplished. That's not who we are.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, so true.
Even in the Bible, Paul, when he announced himself, he says, Paul, an apostle. He didn't say apostle Paul. We call him that because we so caught up in labels. Because this is some good stuff, Dr. B.
Yeah, you start thinking about that. Wow. So I would love to hear yoga. So talk to me about the practice of yoga.
Okay.
As I've gone on, and you kind of get scared sometimes, right? Like, oh, namaste. If I say namaste, am I like calling out a demon or something like that? Or like, so I'll do all the yoga. I'll do all the moves. I'll even do hot yoga where it's hot inside, but I don't want to say some of those words or that meditation that goes along with it. So how do you reconcile that where you just go, wait a minute, this, because you feel so much better after doing it, right?
Well, let me say this. How about this? I practice in a Hindu temple where they were sacrificing, they were making their offerings with the bananas and all those things. Like I participated in, yeah. So like you looking at me like what? Yeah. So
bananas. I never did know yoga with bananas.
No, so it was the Kadesh, that temple. So my teacher, who I met during Hurricane Sandy, I was practicing yoga first. I became an energy healer through Pakwa. I studied energy waves. But I was doing yoga. I thought I was doing yoga until I started to do yoga. And when I met him, it was during Hurricane Sandy, and I didn't even know who he was.
Okay.
He was Madonna's Gwyneth Paltrow. So one day my wife says, "Do you know who you hang? We all out here giving out food to the community. I don't know." And he said, Pastor, come to my studio. I want to practice some yoga with you. And so I went, and here's the thing. The way that the studio was set up, you can have somebody doing very, very advanced yoga next to somebody that's doing beginner. So you have people crawling, people hanging upside down, doing back bends on the wall, people rolling around. And then you had me, who couldn't hardly get through a sun salutation A. The genius thing that he did, because he became one of my teachers and gurus, is that he stripped all of that away. And how when we develop urban yogis, we don't say the namaste. We don't do yoga. We do the same things. And he thought of that to break down the barrier of what you're saying. So you can get the same practice. If I'm instructing and I teach at a church, I teach seniors. And if I'm instructing, and I learned this from him, and I'm teaching young people, it can be hip hop yoga. If I'm teaching seniors, it could be senior yoga. If I'm teaching the older we become, the body starts to decay. Think of your body as a tree. The sap starts to run out. The only way that the sap gets back into the tree, we see the tree sway. When we stop swaying, the joints get dry. There's no lubrication. Into alignment. That was difficult for me getting into it. I didn't do none of the meditations. I ran out of the rooms. I preached in a room full of Hindus, Buddhists, and Jews. One of my pastor friends came and he's like, I got to see this, because they didn't think that I was going to preach Christ. And I said, all I know is my faith. At that time, I know more now, but I learned more by becoming more flexible in my body and not pushing away what did not make sense to me. And what I really found out is that we're all saying the same thing. We just may be saying it through a different lens. And I'm not universal. I'm not a universalist.
Okay.
I'm not a
Gotcha.
universalist. But we all saying the same things.
Yeah. What when you start? So if somebody, because I want you as part of our community to be able to start teaching some of the yoga for somebody getting started in yoga and somebody getting started with the practice of, I don't want to say contortion because it's not, but when like my body's 60 years old, right? And so when I try to bend down, it hurts. And if I'm not doing it every day, what are some things that I need to prepare myself? Is it, excuse me, like, do I need to have a special mat? Do I need to have a special corner in my room to be able to practice yoga? Can I do it while I'm watching it on YouTube? Or what do I need to do in order to be able to?
I love the YouTube yoga.
Do I have to go to a class at a gym? If I want to start because I know my body doesn't feel right, what do I do?
I love the people that do the YouTube yoga thing, because you don't know when to stop, and nobody's there to say, "Hey, you in your room, you like," and you're like, "Man, forget yoga." So the first thing that I say to anyone, you have to listen to your body. Adults, now seniors, which is a huge delight. In my book, I don't write about the youth and young adults that I taught, and I have many great stories. I write about the senior, the lady who's sitting in the wheelchair and came to yoga class. I work at a adult daycare facility, contracted it out there, and she came to yoga with tears in her eyes because she's like, I socks. So it's micro movements. If I'm teaching, what I say to people is, it doesn't matter about striking the pose. Some teachers want you to get into the pose, so they'll push you into the pose. I want you to come back next week and see how repetition and micro movements work. I'm going to give an example, and I hope it comes through. If I can only lift my arm here, where you can lift it. If it can only go here, keep lifting the arm here. But when I do this, I'm not just going to work this arm. I'm going to lift this arm here 5 times, breathe in, the arm comes up, breathe out, the arm comes down. But then I'm going to lift this arm up and bring this arm down. What I'm saying to the brain, and this is neural pathways, I want this arm to get higher. But in order to retrain the brain, I have to show the brain that this arm is going this way. So whatever I do on one side of the body, I do on the other side of the body. What happens is if persons have a back problem, trauma in their body, they work on the side that they have the problem in, but they don't work on the other side. the brain has what we call pathways. Yoga helps to show the brain, this is what I want to do. When those pathways are closed, we have what we call muscle memory, and the brain goes, because again, as I said in the beginning, so the brain now, let me go talk to that back. Just because we're getting older doesn't mean that we have to be worse. So now the back starts to become more flexible. I have in one of my classes 60-year-olds, 60 plus, I call them the golden girls, doing handstands, headstands.
What? Oh my God.
Because when they started, they couldn't do none of those things. Yeah, the body, but it's just through repetition. We had flexibility as children, right? Nobody had to teach you how to flip. You saw somebody flip and you went outside and flipped. Mm-hmm. Trauma, food, all of these things that we pick up throughout the course of our life tenses up the body. So now you have to be retrained again, but it's through micro movements. So if you're starting out, just don't overexert. Don't. If you can't touch the floor, grab the knee. If you can't bend all the way down, don't say I can't bend down. First of all, nobody in my classroom can't say can't. The word can't doesn't exist. Okay. Bend as far as you can. Because can't is a low vibration word. I want to touch my toes. Want is a low vibration word. We don't use want, we don't use can't. Do what you can. And through micro movements, you'll be able to do more the next time. And journal it. Because what we want to do is satisfy the mind, right? So if I'll stop here. If I'm touching the floor and I'm putting my head on the floor, and you're looking at me and I'm the teacher, you're like, I can't do that. It's self-defeating. Mm-hmm. But if you could do what you can do, and you're in, whoa, last week you can only do this. This week you can do this. Next, you know what your brain now starts to get these endorphins and starts to get excited and it wants to please you. I have one guy in one of my classes, all women, there's about 30, 40 women, and the class keeps growing. Mr. Herman had a stroke. He couldn't even bend down to his knees. You know that man could touch his feet. And I asked, because I don't like to put him on the spot, I said, can I show the class? I went to him in his ear and I said, can I show the class what you just did? Because everybody was down. And he said, yeah. And he went down and touched his toes in front of the class. And everybody got excited. You don't have to sit and be immobile, because there's people that help. I'm sorry, I think I talked too much and I ran them away. Dr. B?
Yeah, I'm here. I was just trying to see if I could get a better internet connection because I didn't want to hear everything you were saying. And so you talked about the guy who was able to move his hand down, or be able to touch the ground, which I think is phenomenal. What are the benefits? Like once you started doing yoga, can you hear me? What are the benefits that you found right away from practicing yoga in your own life? What are some of those things?
I used to have water in my knee. When I first started, I couldn't even bend my knees. So certain poses, I used to have to keep my legs straight out. like certain poses where you bend your knee. I would have to keep my legs straight out. And I used to have my ankles would always swell. Basketball on the concrete in New York. And I used to run a lot. And I'm thinking I'm benefiting my body by running and benefiting my body by playing basketball. And really I was hurting my body because the impact from the concrete, that's, New York is the concrete jungle. So one of the very first things I noticed is that I had flexibility in my ankles and knees. Hello?
Hello. And so did that help? Did that help your like? So now you have more flexibilities in your knees. So does that make you just feel better as you're doing stuff, or what is the?
Yeah, man.
Like you
I
go,
always
I want
walked
to do
in
this again
pain.
because now I just feel better. My body feels better. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I always walked in pain. It's funny because I would leave yoga and I would see somebody like, where you coming from? I was like, I'm coming from yoga. They was like, if you walking like that coming from yoga, I don't want to do it. Because there is a threshold of pain that your body's going to go through, because the body is going to resist. So if you have back pains, right, and we did something for the back is going to be so used to being the way it was that it's going to fight you back. No, this is where because that's the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is there. It's like, this is how we've been for the last 20 years, and this is how we're going to do it. And now you're trying to present it a new option, a new opportunity. And that new opportunity is going to say, nah. But through repetition, you start to get the flexibility back. Then back, oh, you're trying to help us. So we don't let the mind lead us. We lead the mind. So yes, there's going to be a point. I've left yoga class crying and said I wasn't never going to do it again.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, man, pulled hamstrings, all of those things, because we especially in our communities, we teach kids how to play basketball. I used to run track, did all those things. Nobody taught us how to stretch. They say stretch before you run, stretch before the game, do all that, but they teach us these stretches that don't help us. And you put all of this undue stress on your joints. And after a while, you pay for it. And the payment is not good. I mean, look at all the athletes that we see, as Dr. B is coming back to us. But look at all of the athletes, if you're listening, that we see that can't walk, their hips are down, and they had high-class trainers because they put all the stress on their bodies. And when the body has all the stress on it, it's hard to get it out without some type of
you still there?
repetition.
I'm back.
It doesn't even have to. Yeah, and I was just talking to the audience while you were getting yourself together.
Cool.
It doesn't even have to be yoga. It just needs to be some type of movement.
Oh.
I was just saying, like, if we look at athletes, they do stress on their bodies. That's unnecessary.
Mm-hmm. So you write a book, and the book is about this journey that you had. Kind of walk us through your book and why this was such important work that could help people.
I wrote the book with a certain audience in mind. When I was coming up, again, I grew up Pentecostal, and they told us that the TV was the devil. Church, I've always been a techie, and we had churches, pastors before the pandemic saying that Facebook was the devil.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at this AI age. I call it the AI evolution. And I'm like, okay, I know what's going to happen. I know from my upbringing, I know from my worldview, I know from religious talk that there's going to be a portion of people that's going to resist this. They're going to say AI is the devil, it's the mark of the beast, all the things that we've been hearing since I was a kid. I want to propose a, instead of looking at it as something that we train our people because we have influence as negative, why not have a seat at the table?
Mm-hmm.
We're at the it's been happening for a while now, but we have a 2-year window giving their input on what this evolution would look like. So instead of saying, Dr. B, don't use it, say,
Mm-hmm.
hey, Dr. B, use it, but this is how. Like, be one of the people in the forefront. If we are supposed to be the head and not the tail, we always lag, and we lag out of fear. So that was one of the premises that I wrote the book. The second one is I have so many unfinished books.
In your head, or just that you had written down already?
I have a lot of memoirs.
Okay.
On the other side of this, I wanted to finish something, but I see an opportunity, and this is the marketer, the business side of me, as being the one in the forefront as a thought leader.
Okay.
Saying, hey, it's okay to come on inside.
Mm-hmm.
And who better else to tell a story about me? Like I talk about meditation. I talk about prayer. I talk about neuroscience. I talk about artificial intelligence. I talk about, so it's funny because in the middle of the book, they changed, it was like prompt engineering was the key phrase, prompt engineering. So I wrote the book about prompting, right? And in August, it became context engineering, which is totally different. So I had to go back into the book and now change the phrase to context engineering. And as I was finishing my edits, talked about emotional intelligence of AI. And in January, they're going to release Chat 6 and Chat 6 because the chat is going to be able to tell when you have a bad day. The chat is going to be able to have memory. The chat, and so if the intelligence is getting better, and I was so glad. I said, "Oh man," because I wanted to put the book out in August. I'm glad that I didn't put it out in August because now, when the book comes out, I'm self-publishing. So when the book comes out in the next couple of weeks, all of that stuff is going to be in there. And here's how I ended the book, though, Dr. B. Again, I told you I grew up with in the projects, and I had my own money loops, financial loops. I end the book talking about, and I give the prompts in the book, how to create your own finance team. Prompts to create an accountant, prompts to create a financial advisor using Warren Buffett's mind and his principles, prompts. All of this stuff is in the book. So you're not just walking away. You walk away with two things. You walk away with prompts in context for your subconscious mind, because the first 6 chapters is dealing with how to prime the subconscious mind that you want to think to tap into your true I am itself. Better your life. We can't wait for the government to give us anything. As we see, the government is not coming to save us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But we have these phones in our pockets.
Yeah.
That we can prompt, and it can tell us that's a bad decision. We can figure out how to be better with our money. One of the prompts I show pastors and thought leaders how to find help in food desert areas by using a zip code, so that they can train mothers on, all right, we know it's coming. We're not like, we can sit there and act like we can pray to God all we want to. He's not coming down with manna. He left us here to be innovative and to go get it. And that's what this is done for me. This is my transformation from sitting in Brooklyn trying to figure out how to be the biggest church in Brooklyn to impacting the world.
Yeah. I would love, so I'm going to do and this is, I guess this is my promotion right now, but on October 18th from 1 o'clock to 4. So I just wrote a book called Relationship versus AI, all about relationships and AI and how they work, and very similar to some of the things that you're doing. And I would love if you're willing to come back and maybe part of that seminar, talk about how to set up a financial advisor, how to set up these prompts, and because when you're using ChatGPT, everything is about a prompt. Everything is about setting it up in a way that it's a tool so that you can have better relationships. Because why are you doing it in the first place? Why do you need to have better finances? Why do you need to have more time on your hands? Why do you need to do the things? Why would you even use AI if it's not helping you with relationships? And then when we kind of meld it together with the things you're doing, right? So now if I use AI and I have more time and I have better relationships, but my body doesn't work, then it's all for naught, right? So we got to add all these things. So yeah, yoga, maybe the AI, and we have time because we're using it to help us send emails or check emails or do things that allows us to have more time. But if we don't take that time and use it wisely, then why are we doing it? And so on October 18th, for those of you there, if you go to relationshipversusai.com, you can register for the event. It's a free event. It's going to talk about maybe even being able to come into becoming the person universe. But we want to start that, especially if you're scared of AI. If you're thinking that it's the devil, like we've been talking about today, let us help you start thinking about ways it's just a tool like any other tool. It's not the tool like you think of. The wheel was a tool back 2,000 years ago when they were trying to move stuff back and around, right? And I'm sure somebody thought a wheel was from the devil, right? And we think of all the things that have been tools in our life, but if it's used wrong, it's like any other tool. I was talking to my wife the other day. We were talking about just a hammer, right? A hammer is a tool that most of us would say is a necessary tool to build and to create structures. Mm-hmm. But a hammer can also be something that you hit somebody with, and it can hurt them really bad and be used as a very poor tool. And so I can't wait to hear some of the prompts and the things that you put together. And maybe you can share some of those with us on that day. I'm inviting a few people, but Naron, I would love for you to be there in that time to be able to just kind of talk about, yes, that relationship part of AI, which I think you've kind of mastered, saying, wait a minute, this isn't just about being scared of something that's going to take over the world, because I'm telling you, AI is not going away. It is not something. And so you can get left behind, not saying I'm going to embrace it. And I'm not saying that it's got to be, you wake up in the morning and it makes you coffee and you go to bed at night and it tucks you in. But I am saying there's some things, and like you said, I'm even worried about some of the ethics of it. And what does that mean for how people are using it and how people are trying to use it? and moving from this knowledge base of I have to know everything in my mind and then be able to regurgitate like we all grew up having to think like I need to know how to spell 1,000 words. I need to know how to, do all the math. I need to know how to put formulas together. Well, instead of doing that where the IA does it, my father-in-law was just telling me the other day, he said, he's an expert in Excel. And he was saying, I spent just even a year ago, spent like a whole day putting some formulas together to help us in my living trust business, so that it would work properly. And he says, now I just have to ask ChatGPT to create that formula for me. And it does it. And how much more time it's saving him to do the thinking part of the business instead of the formula part of the business. And so I want to talk about a lot about that. And so I don't know, as Naron kind of talks about his response to what I just talked about, if you have questions, go ahead and put them down. I would love, that's the new part of this format in the fireside chats. And maybe, I've seen a few people that are on and some of the different platforms. So if you do have questions, I'd love to hear a question. If not, it's okay. This is our first one. We're going to get it down at the technology. And I do apologize for the spottiness. I know a couple of people said you guys are coming in and out. And so I moved back. You probably can see my background change from my fire outside to my studio that I have in here just to see if I could get a better connection. And hopefully that's working out for you, but we'll get this dialed in. These are going to be some fun conversations. And so maybe you can answer a little bit about the AI, and then if there's anybody who has any questions, I would love to, have you guys answer those questions.
I will say this, because it was spotty at times, if you would have me back, if people found that,
absolutely.
I'm definitely willing to come back. Okay. So here's the thing about prompting. And this is what I had to learn about myself. I'm too vague, and I speak for a living.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm getting mad at the agent, regardless of what we use. You get mad at your agent because you gave a vague prompt, and it's going to give you a vague answer. Mm-hmm. So one of the analogies I use in the book is think of your AI agent as a teenager. The teenager is not going to say, I don't know. The teenager may make up an answer. But the more direct you are with your question, the teenager response change. And that's how we have to think of AI, because AI will give you some wonky answers. And the other thing that I want people to remember, if you don't remember anything else concerning AI, is it will act like it remembered the last time y'all have that conversation. And it's going to speak with confidence. It doesn't remember. You have to prompt it
to remember.
Monday, you have to prompt again on Tuesday. If you prompt Tuesday, you have to prompt, keep them into place and paste them as if you never spoke to your agent before, unless you do some stuff with APIs, and that's more advanced, and context and store memories. But if you're just using it and people get frustrated, like, oh, it's giving me the wrong answer. We just spoke yesterday. It doesn't know. It doesn't remember. It's a teenager.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And then, like you said, one of the things that we're going to do on the 18th is we're going to show you how to go into the ChatGPT settings and set it up so it knows who you are. We're going to prompt it to say, hey, this is the master prompt of who I am. And we're going to put some stuff that is going to put there so that you can refer to it so it knows how you write. One of the goals that I have at the end is that everybody has an ebook that they're going to write through the process of using ChatGPT with your language and your mind and the way you speak, instead of the way ChatGPT thinks you should speak and learn and grow. And I want to use Gemini to do some storybooks, and I want to use Copilot and what's the other one that starts with the P? I can't even think of it right now. I'll think of it here in a second. But yeah, so we're gonna have some fun for those of you who have never ever touched ChatGPT before in your life. We're gonna have some fun setting it up, and for those of you who've been using it and just want to get more out of it, it's going to be an amazing. And so, Naron, please come back during that time, and we'll spend maybe a half hour just going through some financial, because I believe me, I've done that. I've set up, hey, if I am Warren Buffett, or I've just said, if I want 25 years of experience, and this is just a tip, after 25 years, it doesn't know the difference of a financial advisor who is helping somebody in my situation. One of the things that I told a client that I was working with that was asking me about budgets and asking me about their own personal finances, that gets hard for people to be able to express what's really going on, right? Because of our shame and our belief in that we can't get stuff done, or that we've done something wrong with our money and now we can't get back out of it. But one of the most liberating things for that client was, as I said, before you tell me anything, I want you to go to the ChatGPT. I want you to tell it your situation, because it's a computer, right? It doesn't have any emotions. No. It's not going to judge you. It's not going to think about you. And you're probably going to feel more comfortable telling ChatGPT all your situation, because it can't judge you, than you are even me, because you're worried about what I might think about you if you tell me. And be honest with it. And then here's how to set up a prompt for a financial. And now when it spits out a budget, bring that budget to me. Now we can work on some of the things that can help you based on that. Oh my gosh, it was such a huge liberation for them, because they told ChatGPT a whole bunch of stuff that they would never tell me about their money, right? Yeah. And so that's going to be something we're going to talk about a lot, because we do feel these emotions about shame and talking to other people and letting somebody know our true selves. And I think that's part of even the meditation that you've been talking about tonight, is we got to get over what other people think about us. But it's not
get over what we think about us.
Now, oh my gosh, it's even more. The I am, right?
That I am is a mother.
You are so right. And we think about all those things that we tell ourselves every single day that we go up, that that when we get up from the morning till the time we go to bed, how many I am statements are we telling ourselves on a daily basis that don't serve us?
Listen, the first thing that I do, and I know we've been talking for a while, so I'll go, but the first thing I do is I talk about morning routines. Mm-hmm. People wake up, some people, as soon as they wake up, I am going to have a long day.
Yes.
So what you going to, you got the same 24 hours that everybody else got.
What makes it long, right?
But what's going to happen is you set up the mindset, and the subconscious mind is just going to give it to you. That's the law of attraction. People talk about the law of attraction as we attract people. No, we attract what we think. Oh, man. Like, we're all mindful, but we all don't practice mindfulness.
Yeah.
And this is, you ever get ready to have a conversation with somebody and it's a bad conversation? I'm not talking about one of those good ones. And you start to be mindful of that conversation as you're driving to them. They're going to say this because you know the person, and I'm going to say this, and they're going to say, you start to set up your, that's a mindful practice. Mm-hmm. You're setting your mind up. So now, even if the person doesn't say what you thought that they was going to say, you already set your mind up to respond the way that you want to respond. You responded. So you set your mind up. I'm blessed. I'm highly favored.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make the best out of this day. I know I might face some obstacles, but today is a good day. The sun is shining, or if it's raining, the rain is pouring. If it's snowing, the snow is coming down. I get to get another shot at today because yesterday's gone. Tomorrow's not promised. All we have is now. Last thing, promise you. The mind works this way. The mind can only focus on one thing at a time. That's why meditation is important, or prayer is important. And I talk about both of those. The mind is either thinking about something in the past. That's where anxiety, that's where doubt and all of those things come from, the past, or is worrying about something in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
These tools get the mind, because the mind can only do one thing at a time, from the future to now or to go. You can't change it. Oh, Dr. B, what happens if something happened to me and my kids are not going to? All right, that's why we're planning, so that we can get something. Don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow is not going to add one tittle to your day.
Mm-hmm.
I get excited about talking about this, especially with Black people, because most people I work with are not our color.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Sorry, man.
Yeah.
There we
No,
go.
you're all right. You're all right, because oh my gosh, this conversation is so important, and it is so necessary and needed, because we do get up and we have been used and trained, and it's been part of just our, I guess, the record that we play to ourselves every single day. That is what's hurting us the most. And then we go look for society to blame because we don't understand it so much. And so I was wondering, there's a you said that I wanted to play a quick video. A guy named Forrest Frank. I don't know if you've ever seen or heard of his song. Stop. Okay. Oh, here we go. Okay. Oh, man. Okay. Here we go. All right. So I'm gonna and then I want to get your thought process of it here. So let me share my screen, and we get to do this here. So yeah, okay. I figure out how to rewind it. And I'm gonna turn the audio on because I'm so good at making sure that this all happens. So can you see my screen right now?
Yes.
All right. So I'm gonna play this here. I don't know. Let me see if I can just refresh it here, because what you just said is so vital. And he came up with this song. Here we go.
Can you hear it?
So it says, sit here if you're having a bad day.
I'm about to have a good day.
Yes.
No matter what they say. Sun is shining down on me. Birds are singing praise. I'm about to have a good day. In every single way. God who made the universe knows me by my name, so it's a good day.
Wow, can I give you a hug?
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Is that all right or what?
That's amazing. You know, I was
Yes,
telling
I'm about to
my
have
son.
a good day in every way.
I was
The
telling
God
my
who
son.
made the universe knows me by my name.
You know, a lot of rappers that wind up getting incarcerated, they create these loops in their head. They didn't come from bad homes. They have talent. They start rapping about shooting people. They start rapping about doing things that they've never been a part of. I grew up in the streets. I can tell somebody who grew up in the streets.
Mhm.
And now the subconscious mind takes them exactly where they wanted to be. Oh, you wanted to be a part of the drug culture? Oh, you wanted to be in the gang? Oh, you wanted to be in prison? And guess where they find themselves at?
Yeah.
Because they're playing this track over and over, and our kids are listening to this music, and now they think they got to carry it out. And it's, you know, I'm glad. I was talking to, and I keep saying this, I was talking to a church member. You know, I do service online. I don't have a traditional church since COVID, thank God. And I was talking to someone, and they was like, the church is so divided, and they was giving me all that. And I said, the problem is, when I was pastoring, I didn't have all these tools. I had a Bible and prayer. So we say love, but we don't really sit down and discuss what love looked like.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how you know how to love. Love to you may be Ike, or me, I'll say me. It may be Ike Turner kind of love, right? So we say, oh, I love you. But that may mean that I want to knock you upside the head. And we use these universal religious terms, but we never really get to the surface of it. And church is really not a place that you could talk about your problems.
Yeah.
So we got a bunch of people sweeping it under the rug, dancing, shouting, and going home mad.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? And I perpetuated that for years, struggling.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Naron, thank you for being on. Thank you for all this conversation. And we could go another hour. And it's
I know. Let's let the people go.
We're going to come back to this. Like I said, for the folks that it was spotty, I absolutely want to invite you to speak at the event on the 18th if you got some time to talk about AI and prompts. Also would love to in the community, inside the community, to really, let's start something with yoga. Let's start some people in the beginning. Let's get them going. Let's get them so their mindset, even if it's once a week, that you just sit down and maybe do a yoga lesson or help people get through with something that can change.
Well, I could do
their entire life.
Monday nights after.
I don't know if you just froze, but I think you said Monday nights after.
We could do Monday nights or Saturday mornings. You got me know.
Okay. We'll
8 or Saturday morning, early Saturday mornings.
Okay. Perfect. Well, we'll get that all set up for those of you who are out there who are watching this and making it happen. That we are going to have some yoga that's available to you to be able to really start making your body work the way it needs to work. We want to get you through some AI stuff so that you got the time to be able to do the yoga, because right now you're feeling like your mind is too cluttered. And we want to help you just realize that your mind doesn't have to be cluttered, and there's other people that are in your corner. So thank you guys for sharing our first Fireside Chat with us. I can't wait to do another one next week. I have some guests lined up, so you will look for the previews. Look for, if you haven't been becoming a part of the universe, go to becomingtheperson.com. Think about the universe, being in it, and getting. We're going to have some connection stuff that's in there. We're going to talk about relationships. We're going to do some speed networking. We're going to set up some 15-minute what we just call virtual coffees, where you will be able to look through the directory and find somebody that you can have coffee with, where you're going to decide, how can I serve them and how can they serve me? And so we're gonna blow you up on relationship and all the things that are going to help you have these better relationships, and then just help you become a better person. So becomingtheperson.com. Also, relationship versus AI for the 18th. We're going to start at 11 a.m. Mountain, which is 1 p.m. Eastern, and for that day on the 18th. And we're going to have some incredible guest speakers. You will walk out of there with a different view of AI than you have right now. I promise you that. So you guys have an amazing, awesome, wonderful, just incredible day. Naron, you have one last thought you'd love to share with everybody?
See you guys on the 18th.
All right. Talk to you guys soon. Have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you.